Picture this. It is an ordinary morning, and a 72-year-old woman named Mrs. Allen stands in her kitchen preparing breakfast. She bends down slightly to reach for a pan in the cupboard. Nothing dramatic, nothing that should feel dangerous. Yet in that moment she hears a sharp crack and feels searing pain shoot through her hip. She collapses to the floor, unable to stand. Later at the hospital, the X-ray shows a fracture in her femur. The doctors are puzzled because the fall wasn't serious, but her bone gave way as though it were made of brittle glass. This frightening reality is happening every single day among seniors over 60. Hip fractures are not just accidents. They are often silent signals of osteoporosis, the disease of fragile bones. And here is what shocks most people. The fracture often has less to do with one dramatic event and far more to do with a quiet daily habit that has been silently eroding bone strength for years. You may believe your bones are safe because you eat healthy, avoid cigarettes, and try to stay active. But what if something you repeat every day, something so normal you never question, it was secretly draining your bones of the minerals they need to stay strong? As a neurologist who has spent decades studying how aging affects the body, I've seen too many patients like Mrs. Allen whose lives change in a split second because of bone weakness. And what terrifies me most is that they usually had no idea their bones were already crumbling. Many of them thought fractures happen only after major falls, or that bone pain would give them enough warning. But osteoporosis is silent until disaster strikes. Imagine walking across your living room, tripping slightly on the rug, and suddenly finding yourself in an ambulance. Or imagine coughing so hard during flu season that a rib cracks. These may sound extreme, but for fragile bones, they are frighteningly possible. And the daily habit we are about to explore could be pushing your risk sky high without you realizing it. Before we dive into the full list of habits and foods that threaten bone health, I want to pause for a moment. If you are new here and haven't subscribed yet, I strongly recommend you hit that button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you will never miss another health tip made specifically for seniors like you. And if you value this kind of information, please type 1 in the comments below. If you think I could improve, type 0. Your feedback helps me guide these messages better for your needs. So, what exactly is this hidden danger? The shocking truth is that many seniors unintentionally weaken their bones through ordinary daily routines, habits that seem harmless or even healthy, but in reality accelerate bone loss. Today I'm going to walk you through 9 of the most common daily habits that silently strip calcium, weaken collagen, and set the stage for osteoporosis. Some of them may surprise you, some may frighten you, but all of them will give you the knowledge you need to protect yourself. And if you think a glass of soda or a little extra salt couldn't really make a difference, just wait. The first culprit on our list has probably been in your refrigerator for years, and it may be stealing the minerals from your skeleton every time you reach for it. Let's start with a habit that many seniors think is harmless: drinking soda or other carbonated beverages. Whether it's a can of cola with lunch, a fizzy diet soda in the afternoon, or even certain sparkling waters, carbonation combined with added chemicals has a much deeper impact on your bones than most people realize. Here's the mainstream medical fact: as we age, our bones naturally lose density. This is because the balance between bone-building cells, osteoblasts, and bone-destroying cells, osteoclasts, begins to tip in the wrong direction. After the age of 50, the rate of bone breakdown overtakes the rate of bone rebuilding. For women, menopause accelerates this loss because of falling estrogen. For men, slower testosterone decline has the same effect. By the time you reach 70, you may have already lost 25% or more of your bone mass. That means every extra factor that strips calcium from your body or interrupts bone repair is far more dangerous than it would have been at 30 or 40. Now let's dig into the hidden science of soda. Dark-colored sodas are loaded with phosphoric acid. At first glance, that may not sound harmful, but when phosphoric acid enters your body, it alters your blood's delicate balance of calcium and phosphorus. Your body reacts by pulling calcium out of your bones to stabilize that ratio. Imagine the skeleton as a bank account. Every sip of soda makes a small withdrawal. Over years, those withdrawals add up until your account is nearly empty. And carbonation itself, while refreshing, creates an acidic environment that makes your kidneys excrete more calcium through urine. Let me share with you the story of Mr. Raymond, a 66-year-old retired carpenter who came into my clinic. He had always been proud of the work he did with his hands. But after a simple stumble on his driveway, he fractured his wrist. When we talked about his habits, he admitted that he drank 3 cans of soda a day. "It keeps me awake and makes me feel young," he said with a smile that quickly faded when I explained the cost. His bone scan revealed advanced osteoporosis bones, so thin they resembled honeycomb. Every year of soda drinking had silently pulled calcium from his skeleton until even the smallest accident could cause a break. And this isn't just about soda. Some energy drinks and flavored sparkling beverages are packed with caffeine and sugar, two more enemies of bone density. Excess sugar fuels inflammation that eats away at the collagen framework of your bones, while too much caffeine interferes with calcium absorption in the gut. So that afternoon pick-me-up may be setting the stage for an evening in the emergency room. Have you ever thought, it's just one can, it can't hurt? I can tell you from decades of experience it can. When you are over 60, your bones no longer recover from daily insults the way they used to. Every choice matters. So, the next time you open the refrigerator and reach for a fizzy drink, pause and ask yourself, is this worth another withdrawal from my bone bank? There are safer alternatives. Mineral water, herbal teas, or a simple glass of milk that refresh without robbing your skeleton. And if you think soda is bad, wait until you hear what sitting too long does. You may believe resting in your favorite chair is harmless, even necessary. But sitting for hours each day quietly starves your bones of the strength-building stress they need, and the consequences can be even more devastating. Now let's look at something far more common than soda, something many seniors believe is simply part of daily life: sitting too much. You might think, I've worked hard all my life. Don't I deserve to sit and rest? Of course you do. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Sitting for long hours every day quietly erodes your bones in ways most people never imagine. Here's the mainstream medical fact: bones are living tissue. They respond to stress and pressure. When you walk, climb stairs, or lift light objects, the tiny stress placed on your skeleton sends a signal to your bone-building cells: strengthen this area. Add more minerals here. But when you sit for hours, your skeleton receives no such signals. Over time, your bones interpret this silence as a message that they are no longer needed. The result: bone density begins to melt away. This process is called disuse osteoporosis, and it is one of the leading silent culprits behind fragile bones in older adults. Now here's a deeper, lesser-known fact: prolonged sitting not only starves your bones of healthy stress, but it also slows circulation through your hips and spine. Reduced blood flow means fewer nutrients like calcium and vitamin D actually reach your bone tissue. In addition, muscles that normally support your skeleton start to waste away, making every step less stable. It is a chain reaction. Weak muscles lead to weak bones, and weak bones make falls catastrophic. Let me share a story. Mrs. Johnson, a 74-year-old retired school teacher, came to me after fracturing two vertebrae simply by bending forward to pick up a laundry basket. She was shocked I didn't fall. I didn't crash into anything. I just leaned forward. But her bone scan revealed severe thinning in her spine. When I asked about her lifestyle, she admitted she often sat in her recliner for 5 or 6 hours a day watching television, reading, or simply resting. After decades of standing in the classroom, I thought I earned my chair, she told me. What she didn't realize was that the very rest she believed was helping her body was actually robbing her of skeletal strength. You see, our bones are like the roots of a tree. They grow stronger when tested by wind and movement. Without that stress, they dry out and weaken. It's not about punishing workouts or heavy lifting. Even simple actions, standing up every 30 minutes, walking to the kitchen, doing light stretches, send powerful signals to your bones. Stay strong, stay dense, stay ready. Ask yourself this: how many hours today have you spent sitting? More than 3? More than 5? For many seniors, it can be nearly the entire day. And every one of those hours is a message to your skeleton that it can begin to shut down. Now, don't misunderstand me. Rest is important, especially for older adults. But prolonged stillness is dangerous. What your bones crave is gentle, consistent motion. Think of walking around your garden, doing light house chores, or even just rising from your chair every half hour. These are not luxuries. They are essential acts of bone preservation. So here is the challenge tomorrow. When you sit down with your morning newspaper or television program, set a timer. Every 30 minutes, stand, stretch, and take a short walk, even if it's just across the room. Over time, those small interruptions will add up to stronger bones and fewer fractures. And if you think sitting was a hidden danger, wait until you hear how too much salt, something sprinkled almost automatically on your meals, can quietly drain calcium from your bones like water leaking through a cracked pipe. Now we turn to a habit so small it barely crosses your mind: adding a little extra salt to your food. A pinch here, a shake there. After all, what harm could a bit of seasoning really do? But for seniors, that extra sprinkle can quietly strip calcium from your bones every single day. Here's the mainstream medical fact: as we get older, our kidneys become less efficient at filtering. They don't manage sodium as effectively, which means excess salt lingers in the bloodstream. To flush it out, your body uses calcium as a balancing agent, pulling it from your bones and excreting it through urine. Imagine pouring water through a cracked bucket. No matter how much you fill it, keeps leaking out. That's what happens with calcium when sodium intake is too high. And once that mineral is gone, your skeleton has no easy way of replacing it. But here's the lesser-known truth. Salt doesn't just weaken bones by leaching calcium. High sodium intake also raises blood pressure, which damages tiny vessels in your bone marrow. Those vessels are like highways delivering nutrients and oxygen to bone tissue. When they stiffen or narrow under the pressure, bones stop receiving the resources they need to repair themselves. This double attack, calcium loss plus nutrient starvation, creates the perfect storm for osteoporosis. I remember one patient vividly, Mr. Han, 69, a retired chef. He loved strong flavors and had used salt liberally his entire life. Food without salt is no food at all, he told me proudly. But his pride turned to shock when he fractured his ankle simply stepping off a curb. His bone density scan revealed severe osteoporosis. When I reviewed his diet, I discovered he consumed nearly double the recommended daily sodium. For decades, his bones had been bled of calcium until they could no longer support even minor stress. What makes this danger so deceptive is that salt hides everywhere. It's not just the shaker on your table. It's in canned soups, bread sauces, snacks, and even so-called healthy frozen meals marketed to seniors. You may think you're eating modestly, but your bones may already be paying the price. Ask yourself this: how often do you taste your food and reach for the salt shaker before even trying it? Have you ever looked at the sodium label on packaged foods you eat daily? You may be shocked to learn that a single bowl of instant noodles or canned soup can contain more than the safe daily limit for older adults. The good news is that your taste buds can adapt. Reducing salt gradually helps your palate adjust, so food tastes just as satisfying with less sodium. Herbs like rosemary, thyme, and basil, or spices like turmeric and paprika add vibrant flavor without draining calcium. Your bones benefit, and so does your blood pressure, creating a double layer of protection. But here's the catch. Many seniors trade excess salt for another daily ritual they think is harmless: coffee or tea in large amounts. And while one cup can be safe, too much caffeine is yet another silent thief of bone strength. Let's talk about another daily ritual that almost every senior enjoys: that warm cup of coffee or strong tea. For many, it's the first thing they reach for in the morning, a comfort that starts the day. And to be clear, a small amount is not the enemy. But when caffeine intake climbs beyond safe limits, your bones begin to pay a steep price. Here's the mainstream medical fact: caffeine interferes with the way your body absorbs calcium in the gut. Every time you drink a cup of coffee or tea, a small portion of the calcium you eat passes right through your system instead of being absorbed into your skeleton. For younger adults with stronger reserves, this effect is minor. But for seniors already losing bone mass, it's like trying to fill a leaking bucket you can't keep up. Studies show that for every 100 milligrams of caffeine, roughly 1 cup of coffee, you may lose up to 6 milligrams of calcium through urine. Over months and years, that adds up. Now here's the lesser-known truth. Caffeine doesn't just block calcium, it also increases the activity of osteoclasts, the cells that break down bone. Imagine your skeleton as a construction site. Osteoblasts are the builders laying down new material. Osteoclasts are the demolition crew clearing old bone. With age, the demolition crew is already more active than the builders. Too much caffeine hands them extra tools, making them even more destructive. Let me tell you about Mrs. Lopez, a 71-year-old grandmother who loved her daily routine of 4 cups of strong coffee. "It keeps me sharp," she said proudly when I first met her. But after experiencing back pain, she discovered 2 compression fractures in her spine. Her bone density scan confirmed osteoporosis. When we reviewed her habits, her calcium intake was fair, but her caffeine intake was sky high. For decades, those cups of coffee had slowly tilted the balance in favor of bone breakdown. She thought she was nourishing her mind, but she was draining her skeleton. Does this mean you need to give up coffee or tea entirely? Not necessarily. 1 to 2 cups a day is generally safe for most seniors, especially if balanced with calcium-rich foods. The danger comes when just 1 more cup becomes 3, 4, or 5 every single day. And don't forget about hidden caffeine sources: energy drinks, chocolate, even some pain relievers. Ask yourself this: do you drink coffee or tea for the taste, or for the energy it gives you? If it's for energy, there are safer alternatives. Hydration with water, a brisk walk, or a protein-rich breakfast can awaken your body without weakening your bones. Here's a practical tip: if you enjoy caffeine, always pair your cup with a calcium-rich food like yogurt or fortified almond milk. This helps offset some of the mineral loss. And avoid drinking caffeinated beverages late at night when your body should be repairing bones instead of fighting caffeine's disruptive effects. But if you thought caffeine was sneaky, wait until we talk about another enemy that many seniors love: sugar, especially late at night. This sweet indulgence may feel harmless, but it quietly fuels inflammation that eats away at your skeleton while you sleep. Now let's turn to something that feels comforting, even nostalgic: a sweet treat late at night. Maybe it's a slice of cake after dinner, a cookie with your evening tea, or a small bowl of ice cream before bed. You tell yourself, it's just a little sugar, I deserve it. And of course you do deserve comfort. But what most seniors don't realize is that late-night sugar is not just about weight gain, it's a hidden attacker of your bones. Here's the mainstream medical fact: as we age, our bodies naturally experience more inflammation. Joints swell, tissues ache, and healing slows down. Sugar pours fuel on this fire. High blood sugar triggers an inflammatory response that not only damages blood vessels but also weakens the collagen matrix that gives bones their flexibility and strength. Bones are not just hard minerals, they are a complex structure of protein and collagen reinforced with calcium. When that collagen is damaged, bones lose their resilience and become brittle. Now here's the lesser-known truth: eating sugar at night is particularly harmful. Why? Because your body is designed to repair itself while you sleep. This is when bone-building activity peaks. But when you flood your system with sugar before bed, insulin spikes, stress hormones rise, and instead of healing, your body is busy fighting off the metabolic chaos. In other words, sugar hijacks your skeleton's natural repair shift. Let me share the story of Mr. Nakamura, a 70-year-old retired tailor. Every night before bed, he enjoyed a bowl of sweet rice pudding, a tradition from his childhood. He thought it was harmless, even good for sleep. But when he came to me after fracturing his hip from a simple slip in the bathroom, his bone scan revealed advanced osteoporosis. His blood work also showed chronically high inflammatory markers. When we reviewed his routine, the nightly sugar stood out. "I never imagined dessert could break my bones," he whispered, shaking his head. But the truth is, those decades of sweet endings had silently eroded his skeleton's strength. Ask yourself this: how often do you snack on sweets after dinner? Do you ever notice waking up feeling stiff, achy, or sluggish in the morning? Those are subtle signs that sugar is interfering with your body's nighttime repair. Of course, the solution isn't to give up joy or comfort. It's about choosing wisely. Instead of cookies or ice cream, try a handful of almonds, a piece of cheese, or a few slices of fruit earlier in the evening. These options satisfy your taste buds and give your bones the nutrients they crave. Even something as simple as chamomile tea can calm your mind without disrupting your skeleton's healing. The key is timing and quality. If you want a sweet treat, enjoy it during the day when your metabolism is more active. At night, protect your bones by giving them the rest and nourishment they need. And if sugar was shocking, wait until you see what happens when seniors neglect something even more basic: protein. Skipping protein in your diet doesn't just shrink your muscles, it leaves your bones without the very framework they need to stay intact. Now we come to one of the most overlooked dangers for bone health: not getting enough protein. Many seniors believe that protein is mainly for bodybuilders or younger people trying to gain muscle. "At my age, I don't need that much," they often tell me. But this is one of the biggest misconceptions leading to weak bones and fractures. Here's the mainstream medical fact: bones are not made of calcium alone. They are about 50% protein by volume, with collagen forming the flexible framework that calcium and other minerals attach to. Without enough protein, your bones become like a wall without sturdy scaffolding, brittle, unstable, and easy to collapse. Studies have shown that seniors who eat insufficient protein experience greater bone loss and higher fracture risk even if they take calcium supplements. Now here's the lesser-known truth: protein doesn't just build muscles, it also boosts IGF-1, insulin-like growth. Factor 1, a hormone that plays a critical role in bone formation. Low-protein diets reduce IGF-1, slowing down the very process that keeps bones dense. It's not just about muscle strength. Protein directly influences your skeleton's ability to renew itself. I remember Mr. Delgado, a 73-year-old former postal worker who came to see me after breaking his wrist while gardening. His x-rays showed fragile bones, and his diet diary revealed a startling truth. He often ate toast and jam for breakfast, soup with white bread for lunch, and rice with vegetables for dinner. Hardly any meat, fish, eggs, or legumes. "I thought protein was too heavy for me," he admitted. But his bones told a different story. Without the protein foundation, the calcium he consumed had nowhere to attach, and his skeleton crumbled under even minor strain. Ask yourself this: do you get at least one protein source at each meal? Do you sometimes skip it thinking it's unnecessary or difficult to digest? If so, your bones are already paying the price. The good news is that you don't need massive amounts of protein, just consistent balanced intake. Foods like eggs, yogurt, fish, beans, tofu, or even a small portion of chicken can make a huge difference. Think of each meal as a chance to give your skeleton the framework it needs. Even 20 grams of protein per meal has been shown to significantly improve bone health in seniors. There's also a hidden bonus. Protein strengthens muscles which support your skeleton and prevent falls, the #1 cause of fractures. Strong bones plus strong muscles equals independence and mobility even into your 80s and 90s. So the next time you sit down for a meal, ask yourself, where's the protein on this plate? Because without it, your bones are running on empty. But protein isn't the only overlooked factor. Many seniors also rely on medications, painkillers, antacids, or stomach drugs without realizing that overusing these pills can quietly block calcium absorption and accelerate bone loss. Now we turn to something most seniors rarely question: the pills prescribed or purchased to ease pain and digestion. Painkillers for aching joints, antacids for heartburn, stomach medications for reflux, these seem like everyday necessities. But what if I told you that some of these very drugs quietly rob your bones of the minerals they need, leaving you vulnerable to fractures? Here's the mainstream medical fact. Many medications interfere with the way your body absorbs calcium and vitamin D, the two nutrients most critical for bone strength. For example, proton pump inhibitors. PPIs, commonly prescribed for acid reflux, reduce stomach acid so effectively that your gut can no longer absorb calcium properly. Long-term users of PPIs have been shown to have significantly higher rates of hip fractures. Similarly, corticosteroid pain medications often given for arthritis or inflammation directly accelerate bone breakdown when taken for more than a few months. Now here's the lesser-known truth: even over-the-counter painkillers and stomach remedies, if used daily, can disrupt the balance of minerals in your bones. NSAIDs like ibuprofen in excess can reduce blood flow to the tiny vessels nourishing bone tissue. And chronic use of antacids containing aluminum can bind to phosphate in the gut, depriving your skeleton of this critical mineral. These effects are not obvious in the short term, but over years they add up, leaving bones brittle and hollow. Take the case of Mrs. Carter, a 68-year-old librarian who suffered from long-standing acid reflux. To ease her discomfort, she took antacids every evening, believing they were harmless. Years later, she fractured 2 vertebrae while simply lifting a box of books. Her scan revealed advanced osteoporosis. When we reviewed her habits, it became clear decades of calcium loss had been silently fueled by her medications. I thought I was protecting my stomach. She sighed, but I was destroying my bones. Have you ever asked your doctor or pharmacist whether your daily medications affect your skeleton? Most people don't. We trust prescriptions to fix one problem without realizing the silent side effects they create elsewhere. Of course, I'm not telling you to stop your medications. Suddenly never do that without medical guidance. But I urge you to ask, is there a safer alternative? Are there lifestyle changes that could reduce my dependence on this pill? Can I add supplements or foods that offset the bone loss? Simple adjustments like calcium citrate, which absorbs more easily with low stomach acid, or short-term rather than long-term use of certain drugs, can make a huge difference. The point is this: your bones may already be under siege from your own medicine cabinet. And if that shocked you, consider this: what happens when seniors also neglect the most natural bone builder of all, sunlight and vitamin D. Without it, bones are left hollow no matter how much calcium you consume. Now let's shine a light literally on one of the most underestimated threats to senior bone health: not getting enough vitamin D and sunlight. Many older adults spend most of their time indoors, thinking they are protecting themselves from skin cancer, heat, or simply because they feel more comfortable at home. But this avoidance comes with a hidden cost: bones starved of the vitamin they need most. Here's the mainstream medical fact: vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. Without it, no matter how much milk, cheese, or supplements you take, your body simply cannot pull calcium into your bones effectively. It's like trying to build a brick wall without mortar. The bricks just tumble down. Deficiency in vitamin D is rampant among seniors, with estimates suggesting that up to 70% of older adults have suboptimal levels. This deficiency directly translates to weaker bones and a sharply higher risk of fractures. Now for the lesser-known truth: vitamin D also supports the production of muscle fibers and balance-regulating nerves. Without it, not only do bones weaken, but the very systems that prevent falls, strong muscles, and steady nerves begin to fail. This creates a deadly combination: fragile bones plus unstable movement. Falls become more likely, and when they occur, the outcome is far worse. I recall Mr. Lee, a 75-year-old retired professor who spent nearly all his time indoors reading and writing. He rarely stepped outside thinking the sun was dangerous for his skin. One winter he slipped on a small rug in his living room and fractured his hip. His blood tests revealed severe vitamin D deficiency. I thought staying indoors was safe, he told me, but it seems it made me more fragile. In his case, years without sunlight had left his skeleton dangerously thin, and the fracture was a predictable result. Ask yourself, how much time do you spend outside each day? Do you regularly expose your arms and face to morning sun for even 15 minutes? Or have you unknowingly hidden from the very source of life your bones require? The good news is that the solution is simple. A short daily walk in the morning or late afternoon sun can provide a natural, safe dose of vitamin D. And for those who cannot get enough sunlight due to climate or medical issues, supplements prescribed under medical guidance can fill the gap. Vitamin D-rich foods like salmon, mackerel, and fortified dairy products also add a steady supply. But here's the critical point. Calcium without vitamin D is useless. Supplements without sunlight are incomplete. Your bones are crying out for both, and neglecting one while taking the other is like pouring water on dry soil without planting seeds. Nothing grows. Now we've exposed the 9 silent daily habits that push osteoporosis risk sky high. But we're not done yet. In our final section, I'll show you how to reclaim bone strength naturally with safe foods, smart habits, and daily choices that can give your skeleton the resilience it deserves. We've walked through 9 hidden daily habits that quietly rob your bones of strength: soda that leaches calcium sitting too long, that starves bones of stimulation, excess salt and caffeine that drain minerals, sugar at night that fuels inflammation, protein neglect that leaves your skeleton without scaffolding, medications that disrupt absorption, and the absence of sunlight that steals your vitamin D. Taken together, these small everyday choices form a silent storm that makes osteoporosis not just likely, but inevitable for many seniors. But here's the hopeful truth: you are not powerless. Aging changes the way your body interacts with food, sunlight, and movement, but knowledge is the key to turning weakness into resilience. Every single day you have the power to either weaken or strengthen your bones, and it's never too late to shift the balance in your favor. Think of your bones like a living savings account. For years, those habits have been making withdrawals, but starting today you can begin depositing strength back into your skeleton. How? By making small, consistent changes that build a foundation of stability and confidence. Let me give you 5 bone-safe foods and habits you can start adding right now. Berries. Blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries are rich in antioxidants that calm inflammation and protect collagen, the protein framework inside your bones. Avocados, packed with healthy fats and vitamin K, they support calcium regulation and keep bones flexible. Leafy greens. Spinach, kale, and bok choy provide magnesium, a mineral just as vital as calcium for bone density. Fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, and mackerel deliver both calcium and vitamin D in a natural, highly absorbable form. Almonds and walnuts. Nuts provide protein-healthy fats and trace minerals that contribute to bone repair. Beyond food, lifestyle habits are equally powerful. Here are clear, actionable rules for protecting your bones. Eat earlier in the day. Late-night sugar and snacks disrupt bone repair. Finish your last meal at least 2 hours before bedtime. Pair calcium with protein and fat. A glass of milk with almonds or cheese with fruit helps your body absorb calcium more efficiently. Move every 30 minutes. Even gentle walking or stretching signals your bones to stay dense and strong. Get safe sunlight daily. Just 15 minutes of morning sun on your face and arms can boost vitamin D levels. Ask questions about your medications. Always consult your doctor about bone health when starting or continuing long-term prescriptions. I think back to Mrs. Allen, the woman who fractured her hip while simply bending in her kitchen. After her recovery, she made a choice. She replaced her nightly soda with herbal tea, began eating eggs and yogurt for breakfast, walked in her garden each morning, and added a handful of nuts to her daily routine. A year later, her bone density scan showed improvement. More importantly, her confidence returned. She told me, "Doctor, I feel like I'm rebuilding my life one step at a time." That is the message I want to leave you with. Osteoporosis is not just about fragile bones. It's about independence, dignity, and the freedom to move without fear. By protecting your skeleton, you are protecting the life you love. So let's close with this. You now know the dangers. You also know the solutions. It's time to take back control of your bones, your mobility, and your future. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every senior deserves to live strong, free, and unafraid of fragile bones. Stay safe, stay strong, and remember your bones are listening to every choice you make. Give them a reason to stay resilient.